So I'm very happy to be here today to discuss with you all a little bit about my own career path in STEM, how it's not very straightforward all the time to develop a career path. So hopefully through my experience, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, you can see that you also can follow different paths and be able to have quite interesting, successful, and diverse careers. So right now, to give you a bit of background on myself, right now I am the Chief Data Officer in a very large French company called AXA. And part of my role as the Chief Data Officer is that I manage and I lead all topics related to data operations. So when we talk about insurance company, data operations are all of the information to buy a new product, all of the information to when you make a claim, and also all of the information about costs, about finances, etc., are all within the umbrella of data. So it's very, very diverse field. And within my scope, I am managing teams that are looking at architecture, data architecture. So how data is moving through different systems, data management. So who can have access to different data, especially if the data is confidential or has personal information. Analytics. So new use cases, how we can use data science and machine learning to improve some of our products or our relationships with customer. And finally, and very, very importantly, awareness. So how we can, as whether data scientists or software engineers or architects, bring awareness to different business teams or finance teams about the importance of using data and data science to improve their day-to-day tasks. So that is a bit of an overview or a background in my current role, my current position in the market. And within that scope, I'm looking at the data operations for about 8 different countries in Latin America and in Africa. So very, very diverse markets with very diverse challenges. And I have to say, no 2 days, no 2 minutes are ever the same or ever boring. There's always lots and lots of activities, lots of tasks to do in the data space. But to get to this space where I'm managing all of these different areas, my background when I was in the university, when I was studying, I did my undergraduate degree, my bachelor's degree in New York City at a university called Fordham University. It's located in the Bronx. So I was living in New York City for a few years. And my undergraduate degree was not in STEM. I did an undergraduate degree in humanities. So in the science of communications. So very, very different. However, when I was doing the degree, I always had an interest in computer science. And although my bachelor's degree was focused on humanities and communications and languages, whenever I had the opportunity to take an elective class, I did take computer science, informatica, etc. So I did always have a link into different STEM areas. However, when I graduated the university, which was back in 2009, the job market was very complicated due to the global financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. So I took that as an opportunity to further understand or further define what field or what area I wanted to focus on. And during my undergraduate degree, I had the opportunity to go to Europe, to go to Barcelona, Spain, to be concrete, to do a semester abroad And I took that opportunity, and it was a very pivotal decision for me, because when I did move to Barcelona for a few months to do the semester, I met many different professors, and I learned about different opportunities. And one of the opportunities that I learned about was a new master's program, a Master of Science in Cognitive Systems and Interactive Media. So when I graduated at Fordham University and I decided I wanted to continue in academia, I took the opportunity that I learned about during that semester abroad to apply to the program, because I saw it as a great opportunity to merge my humanities background, which I had just completed, and open up the door into STEM, to be able to pivot a bit more into computer science more formally, so that I can bridge that gap between the humanities and computer science. And they accepted me into the program, which was very exciting. And what I did throughout that program was be a part of a very international group of people in Spain, in Europe. There were people from all over the world, which was really interesting, because I made a lot of new friends, learned about a lot of new cultures, but also had a lot of different perspectives that I still take with me today. And during that master's degree, I met my PhD supervisor in a field called Computational Linguistics, which for many of you, you may know now a bit better as natural language processing, which is a pretty prominent field in artificial intelligence, in data science, and it is related to the analysis of text data. So all of the information we're writing, whether on social media or in news articles or just in general digitally, it's the study of building systems that can understand our text data. So for me, when I understood that I can continue research in a PhD in this field, I was extremely happy. I was extremely excited, because it was really the next step to further combine my studies in humanities with computer science. It was building linguistic programs in Python. So I did learn how to program. And most of my thesis and most of my work during that period, I was building systems, developing analyses using Python. And it really opened up a lot of doors to publish articles about my research, which allowed me to be able to travel and present my work in different conferences. I had the opportunity to present my work in Istanbul, in Turkey, in Mumbai, in India, in Reykjavik, in Iceland. So in the STEM academic path, there are lots of opportunities to travel, to make lots of different relationships, make lots of different friends with people from all over the world, which is so interesting to have different perspectives, to learn different cultures, different languages, if that's what you're interested in, as you continue your studies. When I defended my PhD thesis in computational linguistics, it was in 2015. And I decided at that time that I wanted to move into the industry. So I wanted to transition from academia and move into the industry, into the market. And I had the opportunity to intern for a startup company, which was super, super interesting. The company at the time was building cognitive software for publishing companies. So for companies that publish books, that are looking for new opportunities to write about new books, to sell new books. And it was an interesting market because it's very traditional market. So it's an industry that was still just starting to digitalize. And so there was so many opportunities to be able to build new software to really define exactly what natural language processing or data science can look like for the industry. And that was an interesting period because at that time, data scientist was still quite a new topic. So it offered the opportunity to also define what's data science or how data science can be used for different industries. And also working in a startup, especially early stage startup, is very exciting because you have the opportunity to learn so many new things, of course, by building new software if you're in data science, but also to wear lots of hats. You get to speak with investors, you get to learn lots of different aspects of how a company works, what you need to make the company work, which is extremely useful because it helps also to understand or help you to understand what areas you like or want to continue to develop your career and what areas you might want to not look at in the future. So I was in that startup company building technology using social media data and using other types of inputs to be able to detect trends in bestsellers, to be able to use the information to support publishing companies in knowing where they have different markets or where they might have bigger opportunities to sell books. And this was all based on building NLP models using social media data. And it was something that, with the team, I was very happy to be able to use all of the different knowledge, all of the different topics that I was studying in my PhD directly to solve a real world problem. Because I knew that all of that knowledge could be leveraged to be able to develop a new model, a new product, and it will have a direct impact. And I would see that impact through selling the selling of the product or by, helping other companies. So I was there for about 2.5 years. And I had an opportunity then to move into a very, very large company and also an opportunity to help build a data science team. So I left the startup and I moved into the insurance industry, and I was working for a Swiss company where I was leading all of the data science solution delivery, which was extremely exciting also, because again, insurance was a market, or is still a market, where the use of data is still finding its way. So being able to build a team, being able to identify new opportunities of different potential products or solutions or capabilities that can help our external customers, so all of the people or all of the companies buying insurance products, or on the other hand, our internal customers, which are colleagues, different departments, different operations, to be able to not only use data science, but be able to also understand the importance of data science was very, very exciting opportunity. Because for me, if you remember where I started from communications is such an important skill. And I was very happy to not only be able to build technical solutions, such as data science-driven models to help support growth or support efficiencies, but also to be able to communicate these different topics and help others better understand them and understand, more importantly, their significance in helping the business operate better. And for me now, again, that's leading teams that are looking at even more than data science, but also architecture. So the integration of these data science models, data management. So how we can access and use properly and effectively these models. And again, change management. So making the organization as aware of as possible of these models for me, when I think about now building data science teams or hiring data scientists, I see two core areas that I would be looking for when hiring or when looking to bring new people on board. One of them is communication. As being a data scientist, it's absolutely imperative to have great technical skills, to be able to communicate with all of the engineers working on a product, and also be able to have the autonomy to develop, evaluate, validate, and define a solution or a model that can solve a business problem. But being able to communicate that with the different business areas, being able to understand the business requirements and be able to translate those requirements into technical needs that can be delivered is absolutely one of the key skill sets that are required, especially in data science, because any model that you're building is going to be even more meaningful if the people or the outputs it's intended to deliver are understood and able to be utilized. So it's very, very important having strong communication skills, not only technically, but also from a business point of view, because all topics related to AI and data science, especially, they don't exist in a vacuum. Rather, they exist in the context of solving business problems. So being able to communicate with business partners or business stakeholders is absolutely critical. And of course, the second skill set is your technical skills. Understanding what is the core area you want to focus on, whether it's machine learning or AI, and you are very skilled in Python or building ML models, or whether you're looking to move into architecture or solution design, which especially in the industrial market are so important these days. Being able to build models is critical, but being able to integrate them is absolutely important. And there are not enough data architects on the market today. So it's an absolute imperative skill set that all industries are looking for. And being able to build solutions is not only exciting, but a really, really in-demand skill in the market to consider. So again, today, as I said, I'm working in delivering data solutions. The path to get to where I am has not been straightforward from my initial steps in the university in communications, but to the most important aspect, rather than defining from day one exactly what you want to do, is to open up, expand your horizons, be open to new experiences and to trying new topics, to not be scared, to not have fear of failing, because we learn even more when we're overcoming obstacles and we're overcoming challenges. And I think there is an ample space for many more females to enter into STEM degrees and to STEM careers. And again, the path is not always straightforward. So there's lots of time to decide. And even the most seasoned professionals, seasoned executives are still redefining their path. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and leave it to you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see we have a first question. Okay. Yes, Anastasia?
It was so interesting to hear how to combine in the future humanities science and technological science. It's so interesting and motivating. But my question is, maybe you had some odds to making like another step in your life, like you change your life directly in the other way. Maybe you have some odds to do that.
Sure. So explaining the story is always very easy. but to get to all those paths is very difficult. So when I speak about my PhD, for instance, that was 5 years of 24 hours, 7 days a week, hard work. So it's very easy to give the story, but I think it's very important to know that each of these steps takes a lot of work to get to. And I don't want to say that to scare you, because it's not that. It's very rewarding at the end, after 5 years of very, very hard work, when you do have the opportunity to present and defend your thesis. I tell you, it's one of the most proudest personal moments of my life, because you know all of the efforts that you put into it, and I'll be very informal now, the tears along the way, because there was lots of long nights of crying, of saying, I can't do, it's going to be so hard, it's too much. But at the end of the day, I think this is a very important trait also for females, is that we're very resilient. We're good at overcoming obstacles. I see lots of colleagues now, when I was going through different steps of my career, lots of very close female colleagues. And I have to say, one of the common traits I see in general, especially in some challenging fields such as STEM, is resilience, that we don't give up. Even when there are challenges, we keep working, because we know we'll find the solution. And so, yes, there are always odds to overcome. But I think one of the important traits I find in myself when I was going through all of this is to never give up, really. I think in many cases, it's always easy to say, it's difficult, I'm going to, focus somewhere else. But at the end of the day, getting through these obstacles, it makes you a stronger person. It makes you more resilient. And when you do get to different topics, for instance, in the more the commercial market outside of academia, you feel like you can overcome anything. To me right now, there's lots of different challenges coming every single day. Every day there's lots of challenges. But by building your career, with all of these different steps, you learn different skills, techniques to be able to not be scared of challenges, because you have the resilience to overcome very, very difficult work. So again, lots of hard work. I don't want to simplify the efforts there, but the work helps build resilience on the one hand, and it helps you feel powerful in the sense that you can overcome any challenge coming to you. And it's also satisfying when you finally do get to the next step, and you can really celebrate all of that hard work. But it does come with a lot of hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Дівчата, чи є ще питання? Хтось може задати голосом, хтось якщо... Влада, давай, да.
What part of your work in computer science do you consider to be the most fascinating one, and which one the most complicated?
So I think I have the same answer for both of your questions, because it was learning how to program in Python. This was the most complicated for me, but also the most fascinating. So as I mentioned, I did not come from a traditional computer science background, as my undergraduate degree was in humanities, in communications. So when I did pivot into computer science through my master's and my PhD, I learned very, very quickly, this was back in 2009, the absolute importance of being able to program by myself. So computers, data science in general, especially when I was studying it back in 2009, I always see it as a spectrum, where on the one hand, you have really skillful software engineering on one end of the spectrum. And on the other end of the spectrum, you can also have business analysts that are looking more theoretically at different problems. And I found myself in the middle at the end of the day. I was in the middle. I understood the business concepts through my humanities background, but I also was building in natural language, in computational linguistics, part of my thesis was to build a semantic disambiguation engine using machine learning models. So as you can probably see, I very quickly understood that I needed to move beyond theory, and I needed to be able to program these algorithms autonomously, because it would make me go faster. And also I understood very early on the importance of being able to program. When I first started out in my master's PhD, the language for computational linguistics was Perl, which is not used too much anymore. So when I then started to learn Python, and to this day, I see it as one of the most challenging things that I ever did, because I was a bit late learning how to program in Python, as I started doing it during my PhD. But also the most fascinating, because I feel when you really dominate a programming language, you have a certain power that you can use. You can do anything with it. You can build any type of application. You can build any type of software, any type of model, and essentially you have the power to potentially change the world. If you think about all of the major applications, I use Python as an example because that's what I was using during my studies. If you think about, the major applications that are built on Python, I mean, it's amazing. And so for me, again, that's one of the most challenging things, because learning another language, I mean, think about all of the efforts we all have to study different languages. I've been studying Spanish for more than 20 years and I'm still not perfect at it. So learning a programming language is really learning another language. It's a skill that's extremely important. And it was one of the most challenging things, but also at the end of the day, one of the most fascinating, because you feel you can really do anything you want when you're able to program well in a language.
Thank you very much, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you a lot. We will move forward, and thank you that you joined us today. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And if anyone wants to follow up on any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to continue to chat. Thank you so much.